Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It's Monday, October 2nd. So September is now behind us. So I thought today we would talk about some of the things that you have to watch out for at the gas station when buying fuel, especially if you're trying to buy premium fuel. And then the other thing I thought we'd talk about briefly is why get rich quick schemes never work. All right, so let's start off with the fuel issue. Things that you as a homeowner or repair shop can avoid. Now, these are things that I've seen over the years. Now, if you are just getting a gallon of non-ethanol gas, premium gas, at your local gas station, you could end up with some ethanol in it. And it's not your fault. See, like in our area, most of them are set up that, like, your pump is facing, you're looking at the pump, and on your left-hand side, you have a yellow thing for diesel, and then on the right, you have three different choices, but only one wand or fuel nozzle to work with. So if the person before you put in ethanol fuel, which burns great in their vehicle, and then you're next in line and you punch the non-ethanol because it's not good for the chainsaws, weed eaters, so forth, whatever is in that hose that's left over from the pump before is going to end up in your container. And most of us, for what we use our chainsaws, weed eaters, and that, we don't get over a gallon of gas at a time. So if you bought the premium gas and, paid the bigger money, you're getting, I don't know, like a third, a quarter of that gallon is going to be whatever the person before you put in their tank. The only way you can avoid that, and it's kind of a pain in the backside, is pull your vehicle up to the pump. Choose the 91 or non-ethanol. Pop your gas cap on your vehicle because it'll burn on anything. Have your gallon container ready. And after you put a half gallon or a gallon into your vehicle, then fill your gallon jug. Yep, you're buying 2 gallon where you only need 1 gallon, but at least nothing's going to waste. The 1 gallon with some ethanol in it went into your tank, whereas the 91 straight now is in your container. And that's the only way that I know to avoid it. A lot of the gas stations are set up that way. The other thing I see is people that will pull up to a gas station, and it's a bigger issue for small engine than it is for vehicles. But if you pull up and you see one of their tanker trucks and they're unloading fuel, I would suggest you drive by to another fuel station. And why is that? Well, common sense. The guy's unloading the 87, 89, and non-ethanol into the respective tanks. As he dumps them into those tanks, he stirs everything up from the bottom. And if you happen to be the lucky soul, yes, they do have filters on them, but it doesn't stop at all. And that's why I say it's more critical for your small engine than it is your car. But I have yet to see a car that I own that ran very well on water and sludge. I like to buy from gas stations that move a lot of fuel. And why do I say that? Well, not every gas station is alike. For years, a couple of our small town gas stations have got the rap for having water in their gas. And it's not their fault, per se. They may have like 1,000 or a 5,000 gallon tank, and they have to order enough fuel for at least that week. So that it's available and they don't run out. Now, what ends up happening in the small town gas stations is they have a tendency to be higher because they're being charged a surcharge for traveling out to them on the outskirts. So they're not making bigger money than your local gas stations in the bigger towns and stuff where you have 4 or 5 cars always pumping gas. It's all economic. They're charged more, and then the problem is that fuel will get into their tank, and the only people that will use that fuel, since it costs more, are ones that are running low on fuel where it's almost empty. Or ones that need some gas for the weed eater, chainsaw, lawnmowers, etc. And they end up, since the fuel sits there a long time, we all know that ethanol fuel will separate. You can try it on your own. Just use a clear bottle, take a water bottle, and fill it with ethanol fuel. And shake it right up, set it down, and you will watch. Come take a look at it either later that day or the next day, and you'll see how much ethanol is in there in water, because water and ethanol are heavier than gas. Gas will float. Don't take my word for it. Just do it with your own tests. But what ends up happening is it draws condensation. The ethanol draws water in. So the longer it sits in that tank, the more ethanol draws more water. And that's where you get the saying of the small town gas stations get the rap for water in their fuel. It's because it sits there longer. And with it sitting there longer, it's able to draw more moisture into those tanks. That's why I like going to one that in a bigger township that's 9 miles away from me. And it's one of the Stewart shops. That everybody loves their coffee, loves their lunches and all that stuff, but they always get fuel while they're there. So that thing is always hustling and bustling. Somebody's always fueling up, and there's a line to get into their 8 stations to get fuel. I know if I go there, good chances are I'm getting the freshest fuel that's just dropped. So the other part of this video is on get-rich-quick schemes. And why are we talking about that? Because everybody's seen them. And the tendency is they prey on people that don't have a lot of money to start with promises that they're going to be wealthy. And you've seen them. I mean, typical infomercial, they show you the Ferrari, they show you the gold, watches, rings, jewelry, big mansions, and they're telling you, I only work half an hour a day, and buy my system, it works 100%. It doesn't. Telling you right now, it doesn't work. Before you spend your hard-earned money, I'm trying to figure out a way to bypass the right way to seed growth, which is something that you take from the ground, build a solid foundation. From your solid foundation, you keep, and you have to put the effort in. But these schemes, and I see them everywhere. It doesn't matter what profession. I mean, right down to influencers, or how to get 1,000 views, or how to get 1,000,000 views, or buy this program, I'll show you how. And most of these folks right here on YouTube that shot up quick, it was more of a fluke than it was content. They had something that was funny, hilarious, stupid. That's what gets views. That's how they start sharing it to everybody else. There are a few, yes, that have valid content, but they're not trying to sell you a course. A lot of them are doing the same thing I'm doing, is I'm offering it to you for nothing. Because I truly do want to help you out there. And I've always said, this channel is more about you guys than it is about me. And if I'm helping at least one person make a better choice and become successful the right way, then I've accomplished my goal. It was worth the effort. Couple is better than one, but one's enough for me. So how do these schemes work? The get-rich schemes. It always seems to be the one that's trying to figure out how to make extra income. And different schemes have been around for years, especially like the old time with the pyramid scheme, where you start off, the guy at top makes the most money, and then the next tier and the next tier. And all you can hope when you're in that, if you get into that scheme, is that you're higher up so you get more money. It's a scam. It's illegal. Let me ask you this. If you had a proven track record, okay, that guaranteed to work every single time, what would you be doing as a business owner? Would you be taking everything you've learned and put it into an educational video that you charge for as a course? Or would you keep it to yourself and just keep building for yourself? Well, some say, well, they become so wealthy that they want to share it with others. Bull crap. If they're doing so well at that thing, at whatever they're trying to peddle, they wouldn't need to sell you squat. They don't need to sit down and put together a marketing scheme that supposedly in 5 easy steps you will become a multi-millionaire. Guaranteed, if you follow my course to the letter. They all say something different, but it's always the same. And that is, if you buy my program, my videos, used to be, if you bought my cassettes, and even before that, if you bought my record. See, it's been around for a long time. It dates all the way back to the snake oil salesmen that were selling turpentine that would cure everything. If it didn't kill you first. It's no different. It's just a different face, a different scheme, preying on the people that don't know any better. I mean, years ago, it used to be real estate, and they would tell you how to buy real estate. And the idea was, if you went out and you look at this house and you found out that the appraised value on it was $100,000, and the guy wanted 60 to 70,000, you could take and go to the bank and borrow the 100,000 and put 30,000 in your pocket and call that a profit. I don't. You still owe $100,000 to that bank for that property, right? If you borrowed the full 100,000 for that property, you did not make $30,000. You owe $100,000 now. And what they're saying is, we'll take that $30,000 that you made and use it as a down payment for a second property that you can do the same thing, where the appraised value is much less than what is owed on it, where you can purchase it. And then go to the bank again and borrow the full appraised value, and then take that money. And you see what I'm saying? They're saying, well, they're making money because either they're renting out the property for so much a month and it's covering supposedly the mortgage and the taxes and all that. Yeah, that's fine and good. But most places are 20 to 30 years mortgages on them. And it's 20 or 30 years down the road before you see any money in your pocket. And it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's looking long-term. It's a long game, not a short game. I mean, Anthony Robinson, or whatever it is, he had his own, with the tapes and all that, and how to be confident. I mean, everybody wants to be, healthy and confident, outgoing and social, and be liked by as many people as possible. But now we live in a different time where everybody is on their phones, laptops, computers. And the social interactions aren't taking place. All we're seeing is 90-second clips or 60-second clips of whether we like or dislike. Now with me, my videos tend to run 20 to 30 minutes. I figure by then either I put you asleep or I've given you enough knowledge that you need to take a look at that first before jumping to something else. Most people will fall for this. I mean, especially the youngsters that want all these likes. I mean, they live looking at their phones, whether it be Facebook, Snapchat, or YouTube, of how many likes they get, or friends requests, or, how many people viewed it. So the new form of get-rich-quick scheme is to become an influencer and sell products. Have people sponsor you. I think there's that Mr. Bean or whatever that has figured out how to capitalize on the same thing with just a little bit different to keep his audience. And he's making his money by selling commercials for Shopify and whatever product that anybody wants to be seen by millions of viewers, which is a lot of them. That's their advertising budget. So what I'm trying to tell you about these schemes is you are farther ahead to take that money and go out and buy a bunch of lottery tickets, because you have as good, if not better, chance of making money on the lottery tickets than you do on their scheme. And like I talked about yesterday, the lazy and copycat, trying to capitalize on what somebody else has already done, doesn't always work, because either it was a fluke and they found something that it worked, it happens, or they failed to tell you about how much blood, sweat, and tears went into it and how much work actually took place to get them to that point. If you want to become successful, and we've defined successful in yesterday's video, if you want to become successful and you want to get to a point of where you're comfortable when it comes to wealth, and each one of us has a different comfort level. With me, as long as my bills are paid and I've got heat, shelter, food, and I got a few extra bucks for whatever I want, beer, I'm content. I don't need millions of dollars in the bank to make me feel good. And I've always said, the problem with being wealthy is you don't know who your real friends are anymore. Because your real friends are there when you're poor and wealth. So before you go spend your hard-earned money on these schemes, just think about it. Use common sense approach. As I said earlier in the video, that common sense tells me if it's that great of a product or service or what have you, then the chances of them sharing it with others in this complete version, because you may take an influencer that went 3 or 4 years and the most videos, the biggest views on any video were like 100 to 200. And then they hit something just right, that catapulted them. And it got them in front of more people. See, that's the hardest thing on YouTube that I find, is there may be 100 million people out there that would find my videos helpful. But the only way it's going to be seen is if the people that are looking at it are liking it, commenting on it, and sharing it with others. That's the truth. I do care about you. And I don't want to see you get put in harm's way. And the harm's way could be simply, your hard-earned money that you needed for other things that you sacrificed on to try to help this other guy become more wealthier on a scheme that's not going to work for you. So to wrap things all up, when you're getting fuel from the gas station, the only way you know you're going to get 91 is to pump a gallon into your car first and then fill your gallon jug. I would avoid the small town gas stations unless it's putting the gas in a vehicle. And be smart. Use common sense when it comes to what these people are peddling. So on that note, you guys have a great Monday. Today we have to go 48 miles to pick up a compact tractor this morning. Been real busy with working on the house. I got all the subflooring down yesterday and a couple walls up, so things are going right along. So on that note, thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow, same time.